All right, welcome everybody to Tuesday afternoon team call, where we're talking about the book, The Greatness Mindset, by Lewis Howes. I've absolutely loved this book so far. I have some things I want to share from it. But a couple quick announcements that I want to make is, if you didn't listen to National Wake Up Call, last week was absolutely incredible with Micah Folsom, and then yesterday was incredible as well. I just came away from that call. I listened to it live while I was doing a leg workout at the gym after I did my iron block workout. And I was just like, I could just feel her energy. Like in my head, I was like, sign me up. Like whatever it is that you're doing, like I want to be a part of that. And obviously I've been a coach for 12 years, a partner for 12 years, but it was just that reminder of it's not necessarily going to be what you say, like how good you are explaining the total solution pack or explaining the compensation plan to somebody. It's going to be about your belief in it, that you know it will change someone's life, and your energy levels of how you show up is how you're going to attract people and have influence over people to have them, see the picture that we see. Because don't we just look at this thing and we're like, I don't know why everybody in the world does not do what we're doing. Like I literally wake up like that and I'm like, if you just did this, like your life would change. Like you would have much less to complain about. You would be excited about the future. You'd have great friends around you. So it's our mission to get out there and share that. So another quick note is if at all possible, I want you to try to get to Summit in San Antonio, which reminds me, I need to buy my flights. I have not done that yet. But I was up last night from like 11:30 to 2 making slide presentations. I get to speak at the Spanish, they call it La Cumbre. It's Spanish event. I'm going to teach the compensation plan. So I'm excited to be there. But if you've never been to Summit with our team, basically what we do, Summit is packed from Thursday evening all the way until Saturday night. But what we often do at Summit is we just get together in the lobby of hotel room, like of the hotels that we're staying in the evenings, and just chat and get to know each other. It's I've been a coach for 12 years. Every time we go, it's like after the events, we're just like, hey, we're in the lobby of the Hilton Garden Inn or wherever we're staying, and people just show up and we like pull all the chairs together and we just hang out and get to know each other. So I think that's where a lot of the magic happens. Like the keynote speakers are going to be awesome. The presenters that are teaching on different topics are going to be awesome. But she mentioned on the National Wake Up Call, it's the just being in the room sometimes where something clicks. And I've seen it multiple times. You guys, like you see me get on these calls, lead them, do shout outs. Justin's getting closer to Diamond every day. But sometimes just sitting down with Gabby and I, you're just like, these people are just normal. Like I think too often, whether it's me looking at Lindsay Matway or someone that is where I aspire to be, we put them on a pedestal, when all reality, they're just like us. Like they're just doing the thing. They have the belief and they're doing the thing every single day. I can't tell you how many times I've met, like I remember having a coach one time. She lived in Montana. It was a few hours away, but we did a retreat, and she'd been a coach for 2 years and recruited a couple coaches. She was an Emerald, but never went beyond that. She signed customers every once in a while, didn't hit Success Club every month or anything like that, would just bring people on. But what I found is she came to a team retreat. She traveled all the way. It was like 8 hours because we went down to Utah. And it wasn't anything specific we did at the retreat. It was just being around myself and the other leaders. She went home and went Diamond in like 45 days. And it wasn't like we didn't sit down at the retreat and be like, this is what you have to do to go Diamond in 45 days. You got to do this, this, this. It was just like, she just left that event and was like, I'm going to freaking do this. Like, I'm done messing around. So I think a lot of times it just comes to making that decision. So get to Summit if at all possible. If you're one of my PS coaches, I'm doing a retreat in August at this cabin where I'm at right now for Diamond. So if that's on your radar, go for it. And then I have been chatting with our Diamonds on this team. We do want to do a Diamond leadership retreat team-wide sometime in the next 6 to 9 months as well. So next, I'm going to share my thoughts. And for those that hopped on late, we're going to jump to this. I want to be done by 12:40 today. I'm spending time with my kid up at the cabin. So I don't want him just on his device for too long today when we're out in nature. So today's 173 through 226. And I'll keep my part short. It's from chapter 11, the mindset and motion cycle. And I'll share something that I loved real quick. This is like the first week I was way ahead. Like I finished early. Okay. The thing that I loved the most that I want to share is from, where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. There was a part called the 5 courageous questions. And it said the right questions are the ones that require real courage to ask and answer. And, one was the purity question. If you were to be 100% authentic to who you are, what would you do? What would you do differently? But I really highlighted question number 2. All the questions are great. Like, what would be possible for you if you could, and then enter your goal, your mission. But my favorite one was the priority question. If you absolutely had to double your goal in the next 30 days, what would be your first 3 moves? And I really love that because, thinking about, maybe, I have my personal goals, but maybe you have a goal of hitting Success Club 10 for the first time. Sorry, my voice went out. Maybe you have a goal of hitting Success Club 10 for the first time. Maybe you have a goal of earning the $500 bonus, the promotion that's going on. And that's an important goal. You can earn close to $1,300 with the commissions and the $500 bonus. So, maybe you're setting that goal. I want to have it by the end of June, which is when the deadline for that is. But on the flip side, it's the first 2,000 people. So maybe by the end of June, when your goal is, the option's not there. Like, it'd still be cool because you sold your 10 total solution packs, whatever, but you want that. Your goal is to earn the $500 bonus. I think the goal is bigger than the commission. It's like to show to yourself that I took on this challenge and I'm one of those people. So if you had to double your goal in the next 30 days, what would be your first 3 moves? So I looked at it like that because that goal is for 3 months, or now we really only have 2 months. Like, doubling that goal would be, instead of taking the next 2 months to make it happen in May. Like, and then the important thing is, what would be your next 3 moves? And if you have an hour a day to run your business, 2 hours a day, whatever that time is, part of planning out your next 3 moves would be like, you have to be focused intentionally on, I need to find, let's say you have 2 total solution packs sold, or 1. Now I have 9 total solution packs I need to sell in the next 30 days. And so you're clear on that. Then your hour a day, or your 2 hours a day, should be 100% writing down names, thinking of people like, who's somebody that trusts me? Who's somebody that would do this with me? Who's somebody that I've built rapport with, that I could reach out to and be like, hey, I'm working on this goal. As you've seen, this works for me. Are there any things that you are working on? Because I would love to have you be a part of this and do this with me. And like, all of your time should be focused on that, on making those connections, starting those conversations, making the invites, and doing the follow-ups. So that would be one of your first moves, is just making sure that when you block out your work time, it's like, maybe you have an hour, like 50 minutes needs to be just like, maybe a notebook with names, and you are writing down, you spend time just thinking about it. Like, I talked to so-and-so at my kids', dance competition or at gymnastics, but I've never really talked to them about this. Like, just writing down names, thinking about people, and then texting them, leaving voice messages and whatnot. So that would be one of your next 3 moves. Another move, when I think about that, would be asking your current clients if they have anybody that would want to jump into the group with you. Like, so asking for referrals, like, it's not like, what's the next reel I could do to get viral, or what are the next 7 reels I can make so I put up a reel every day. It would be making really intentional steps towards doing that. One example that I want to share with you, and then I'm going to pass the time over, is there was one year, it was the first year that we were going to miss Elite as a team. And Lindsay came to me and she's like, Scotty, how are we looking on Elite? And I was like, we are not looking good. Like, it had just been kind of a rough year. And she's like, well, what do we need to hit Elite? And I was like, well, I have all of the points, to hit Elite. But we just haven't hit, we didn't create 2 new diamonds this year. And this is like a few days into December already. So we're talking, we have like less than 4 weeks, and it involves Christmas and New Year's. And so I was like, I really don't have anybody. I was like, and then I was like, we could probably hit Premier, because Premier was have the points and then have 1 diamond. I was like, I could probably hit Premier. My mom's an Emerald coach. Like I could help my mom get to diamond, but I'm just going to save her for next year. And Lindsay called me out. She's like, are you trying to tell me that you need to save your mom for next year because you can't create 2 new diamonds next year? And I was like, it sounds like that. And yes, I was kind of leaning towards that. And thank you for calling me out. I can develop 2 new coaches next year, and I will do my best to help my mom get to diamond this year. Like I'll go for it. And well, that was when she first reached out. When it came to the decision where I was like, I'm going to make it happen. I was in the middle of a hunting season, and in 3 days, I sponsored 6 coaches for my mom and helped 2 of our coaches go Emerald. In like a 2.5 day period while I was out hunting from my phone. Like I was out sitting in the sagebrush, and literally all I did was I was in my coach online office. I was in my making notes of just writing names down. Who are my customers who've been on Shakeology more than 1 month? Who's people that, that said no 6 months ago? And like I was out all day hunting, like out in the sagebrush, just kind of sitting around waiting. And for like 6, 7, 8 hours a day for 2 days straight, I was just texting people like, hey, you've been on Shakeology for 2 months now. Did you know that you could get a discount on your product if you were to sign up as a coach or a partner? And in that course of less than 2 full days, I took my mom from Emerald to Diamond, and we hit Premier that year. And then the next year we got our 2 new diamonds, and we were Elite the next year. But I share that example with you because it was kind of like a priority question. A priority for me was to not go down without a fight. And if it was possible, we were working on building my mom's business anyway. She was my full-time assistant, and we're building her income. She uses Shakeology all the time as well. So I made it a priority that this year we're going to end as a Premier team. I identified my next 3 moves, make my mom a diamond, go take her from Emerald to Diamond. I wrote down every customer that had been using Shakeology more than 1 month. And then I went to my follow-up list, and the people that I'd taken off that list that had been ghosting and whatnot, I reconnected and reached out to them about, because this is the end of the year, this is the end of the December, about starting a challenge with us. I think it was like January 2nd. So, I really feel that you guys should go after this $500 thing, this bonus, and really write down what are your next 3 moves and stay focused on those over the course of obviously the rest of April, but all of May, just focused on, I'm going to sell 10 total solution packs. And it may seem impossible. Maybe you've never done more than 3 in a month or 4 in a month. But I think it's really because you just haven't made that choice yet. So let's go after it. Okay, that's all I'm going to share. Who else wants to share something? By the way, I love the quote on the 2 pages over. It says, when people go all in, it kind of aligns with that. When people go all in on the things that they love, magical things start to happen. Cool. Anybody else want to share?
Okay.
Samantha, Sam.
And I'm sorry, you guys. I was running around all over the place without Wi-Fi most of the time. So, but I could read. And I'm a little shy of finishing the last. I didn't get to chapter 13. I think it's 13. I didn't finish that one yet. But
yeah,
kind of along the same lines as you, Scott. That the section where he was asking Rachel, I think it's Rachel here, like the little steps of how to make her organization, like her nonprofit. It was just good seeing, like you were talking about, just regular conversation of breaking down, if this, then what's the next thing you do? Then what would be the next thing you do? And I was hanging out for the last couple of weeks with with producers and really brilliant musicians and things. And like you said, everybody was just normal people. It was really cool to hang out with that. And I
Yeah.
watched the books come off my boyfriend's attitude with things, and we were coming up with ideas of um, even just some other goals. Like, I don't like the environment being messed with. So getting those messages out to people, and it took the brakes off of being able to send, this producer Neil a text saying, hey, would you do this film? And it opened that mindset up for me for everything too. So being around people that were crazy influential and seeing how, to be blunt, how sick they were. They were musicians that had all the money in the world, but his liver was like blown out, which is where my boyfriend was at years ago. I had crazy health stuff going on. So it's like money wasn't the issue of whether they were really well or not. It was access to tools and the mindset and the behaviors and the habits to feel better. And it seemed impossible to some of those people, but it's not. It's the stepwise tools we have right in front of us. It's
Yeah.
Shakeology. It's doing your workouts. It's oh my God, I forgot to throw my weights into the Jeep. Or into the car. I was so ticked. So yeah, going on hikes, but I needed to do the weight training. Like, my hips started to get sore again after not doing the weight training.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any my Shakeology. We used it all up before we left. So I didn't have Shakeology. So my gut was dumping bile the whole for 2 weeks. So it's like, I get back, I had a shake last night, my tummy's glued back together. So it's like, no matter how fancy anybody seems, we have the tools. And like, he was going through with this person, or the passage, I think it's 204. Again, sorry, I caught up a bit when I got back this morning too. So I'm kind of trying to remember where it was in the book. But it was just a really simple breakdown of who do you need to talk to, and what would the messages be if you had this block of money? Who do you need to borrow the money from? Who would be the next blocks people to talk to when you have that money? How many people would that help? It was just getting out of our own like blocks and mindset and into do the main things, right? Like,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm kind of a mess again. I like blew through a bunch of the reading this morning, and it's kind of a blur. We drove like 30 hours straight.
Oh
And
man, that sounds rough.
yeah, we literally finished the gig to get out there, his gig to get out there, and drove, and then did all the things, and then finished his gig at the Troubadour, and then slept for like 6 hours and drove all the way back. And that was yesterday. So I'm like completely brain dead, but it's kind of cool. It's putting me in that like semi-meditative state where like everything's sinking in. So
There
I'm
you
taking
go.
it as a bonus.
Well, I think it's awesome that you showed up to the call still after that, because that would be an excuse like we just traveled 30 hours and I need to rest, but you're here. So I love that.
Yeah, I know. I needed to like get back in the flow as fast as possible. I missed it. I missed being like not doing the things because I thought I was going to be able to keep stepping through and keep doing them. But yeah, it's all part of the process and it's things to talk about. So it's good. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
never again am I not throwing my select text in the vehicle when I go on a road trip. Like never, ever again. Like never. I'm not
And not
leaving
having
without my
Shakeology.
Yeah. Well, mine got taken when I was going to Mexico and went on a flight. So I thought it was just, oh
Well,
my God, one day back on it. And I feel like I'm like a human being again. It's crazy. So
awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Cool. Anybody else want to share? So, I'll talk the whole time if you don't, but we don't want that.
I'll share real quick.
What's up, Jen?
Hey, so I am like really behind in the chapters. Like I've gotten so used to using Audible, so it's been hard to like, and because I'm in vehicles a lot, so it was so easy for me to listen. But like knowing that we have these calls, it like keeps me reading because I'm like the thing that I keep on replaying in my head is like, I know everybody in our group is like further ahead. And I'm like, so they're ahead of me. So I have to keep going because I have the same tool that everybody else has. But I've like gotten to be where I can read on the bike. Like it was hard for me at first because I would like be on my mixed bike, and I couldn't like do two things at once basically. But then like I've like trained myself to be able to read and be on the bike at the same time. So that's helped me a lot. So I just, in case anybody else is behind, I just wanted to say like I'm still going, and I'm just like finding different blocks of time that I wasn't utilizing before. So
I love that. Just to feed off what Jennifer's saying, the last week I was behind by like 15 pages or something like that. And, you know, I still showed up just like some of you guys have done, even if you're not caught up. And even when I announced the call, I'm like, if you're not, even if you haven't read the book, just come, because there'll be great ideas and things shared. This week, one of the things that I did was, you know, I keep slipping into the habit of, you know, when the kids are all out with their friends and maybe Gabby's busy on a project and I'm done with work and I'm not at baseball practice or anything, like I'll just be like, lay down on the couch, and what's with me? My phone. And I would just start scrolling. And when I do that, I find that I get irritated. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not in that moment, but I find that I'm more irritable. And so I kept my book instead of, it was on my nightstand so that when I wake up, I grab it, go into the living room, do my morning PD while I'm drinking my shake. But I put it in the living room by the couch where I tend to sit in the late afternoon or evening. And like, I was done with the book like yesterday morning, like done with my chapter yesterday morning. I finished earlier. So to kind of feed off what Jennifer said about finding other times to do it. I'm so structured in my to-do lists. Like, by this time I've done this on my bat, and I do my PD at this time, and I do workout at this time, and then I nap at this time, and then I'm at baseball this time, and then I put the kid to bed. Like I'm like, with my 7-year-old, like 7:45, at like 7:35, I'm like 10 minutes. And you and I are going into the bedroom and we watch 10 minutes of like fails on YouTube together. And then we say prayers, go to bed. Then I come out and then I do, like, I'm very structured in everything I do. So it was good for me to be like in that little block of spare time just to read, and how much difference it made for me. Like just reading on this book. So cool. Yeah, and Emily says she gets behind, find that scrolling is just a habit I've created. Reading would be so much better. Cool. This is outside the book, but I want to share something that Gabby and I, probably 3 months, we're on our third book now. When we spend time at night, we hang out from about 10:30 to 12:30 midnight. And we would just hop on and watch like Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, just Netflix shows. We still do, but we spend an hour every night reading a book. And it's been awesome. Like, we read a book, Mars and Venus, In Touch was an awesome one. And then we're reading one, Loving Your Kids on Purpose, I think it's called, or something like that. So that's been an awesome new habit too, of reading together like that. So cool. Anybody else want to share anything? I see Emily unmuted. She might be trying. Her internet's a little spotty. Emily.
Oh, can you hear me? I didn't mean to unmute, but I
Oh,
can share
hey.
if you guys can hear me
Yeah,
okay.
we can hear you.
Okay. I haven't read the book like you guys. I just started. I'm still trying to finish another book, but I do have it. But I just kind of wanted to go off of what you said. I find myself not knowing where I want to go. Like, I don't make a decision, which causes me to just like procrastinate and delay because I don't know where I want to go. But I think sometimes I don't think you have to have like this big overarching, sometimes it could just seem like scary. So I'm like, I think for me, I need to put like little goals and like steps on what I'm going to take, and like take it one day at a time, so I don't like be overwhelmed, if that makes sense. But I feel like I do need to have little visions that I create along the way. And when I get there, do another one and just take it day by day. So I at least have things in place. Like, here's my goal and this is what I'm going to do. The 3 things, like you said, to reach that. And then when I reach that, maybe come up with something else. So it's not this like big, scary, overwhelming goal. I'm doing things to eventually get there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the piece I'm missing, is that I just kind of do whatever, and I could be procrastinating and I'm delaying, and I end up not doing stuff because I really don't know where I want to go. So that
Yeah.
book will probably help if it has that kind of stuff. So I just haven't got very far
No,
in
that's
reading it.
it's all right if you're not there. I love that you shared that. Made me think of a couple things. Like, you might look at someone that's further along, like Jennifer Greenberg, or like where I'm at, and you know, there became a big goal at one time that I wanted to leave my job and do this full
Yeah.
time, which is like a huge step. It's like when I started, that was never even on my mind of anything that would ever be possible. So
Right.
that bigger goal came about by hitting the smaller goals, just like you're talking about. You know, my first goal when I started, so I think it's very important that you identified that so that you don't procrastinate. Set some goals that might challenge you a little bit, yes, that you see that
Yeah.
are that
But
you
are like
can,
but realistic. They're not
Yeah.
like so far out of reach that I don't do anything, but something challenging but realistic.
yeah. So I had my big goal vision was to make $10,000 in a year. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
dramatic. That's not dramatic. It's like 800 or so bucks a month, $700-800, right? So, but that was my big vision that was compelling to draw me to do the work, right? But my very first two goals were to pay for my Shakeology, number one, and number two, to get internet in my house, because we didn't have internet in our house. Internet was $50. My Shakeology, I needed, you know, with the discount, I needed like $100. So it's $150, right? And very achievable to set a goal like that and go get it. And the cool thing is, I got to work inviting people to do P90X, do Shakeology with me, become a coach with me. And I hit that goal within a couple of weeks. So I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's so cool. I did that. And then I set another goal, and Jen Greenberg's story is very much similar to this. But my next goal was I wanted to get a laptop. And it wasn't like a $3,000 MacBook. I wanted to get like a $300 laptop off of Craigslist, because I was buying and selling things off of Craigslist already. I was like, I'm going to get a laptop so I can work my business. So just setting yourself little goals. It could be, you know, over this next 6 months, I want to earn, you know, $1,000 that I'm going to put into a savings account. And I want to have an additional $1,000 that I want to take my husband and kids to wherever, right? Go on a 3-night vacation in St. George or something. So I would
Yeah,
just,
I like that.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
Of course.
if you don't have goals, there's no direction.
Yeah, you just you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. So I think setting smaller goals that are challenging but realistic, and having like a why you want to accomplish something will really drive your behavior.
Absolutely. You know, I think, you know, we're going to lead this team eventually to Superstar Diamond, but what I discovered was my big problem is we would be sitting at like 6-star Diamond or 7. And I'm like, we're going to go to Superstar Diamond in the next 6 months. And it was just too big and overwhelming that I would procrastinate the actual activities. So the thing that I'm doing different this year is I broke it down to smaller goals that are more achievable, which is I'm going to recruit 3 business building coaches a month. I'm going to develop 3 new emeralds a month. I'm going to develop 1 new diamond every 90 days. Like, those are the goals that I'm going to work on. And we've started to see progress doing it like that. And obviously the bigger goal is Superstar, and I can envision that, but I'm focused on kind of like the section that I talked about. What are the next 3 steps? I need to do everything I possibly can with my marketing and inviting to recruit 3 business building coaches a month. I need to put my time and energy into understanding, getting to know these coaches, what drives them, what their why is, what skills they need so they can develop to Emerald. and then putting extra energy and focus into, every 3 months, 1 or 2 coaches that will be the diamonds, versus like trying to get 9 people to go diamond at the same time all at once and just being overwhelmed. So just breaking it down, I think will help with the procrastination, because I was procrastinating doing the exact things that I needed to do.
Yeah, I think when it gets really scary, that's what we do. We just procrastinate. So
Yeah.
I like breaking it down, because eventually doing those things will lead you to your overarching goal.
Yeah.
But it's one step at a time.
Yep, absolutely.
I like it. Thank you.
Cool. When you get some of those smaller goals written down, please share them with me or put them in the Level Up Squad page so we can see them.
Okay.
Cool.
I already know the first goal is I want to, like you said, I want to hit our promotion. I take advantage of that. So
I love that.
that's where, like you said, 80% of my time should be trying to hit it, and before the 2000, so you actually hit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll share.
I'm gonna and this is for everybody on here. I want you to say I am going to hit it, not I want to hit it, or trying to hit it. We are going to do it. Okay. Awesome. Anybody else want to share anything?
Yeah, Scotty,
What's up,
can you hear
Justin?
me?
Yes.
What's up, brother? Hey, a part that I just wanted to talk about that stood out to me is where he talks about the coach or the critic. And he says, compare yourself to a past version of yourself rather than to others. And I think, at least for me, and I'm just speaking for myself, is so many times I just get caught up comparing myself to other people. And I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, comparison is a thief of joy. And so it's a constant reminder to myself that, hey, you're better than you were last year. You're better than you were yesterday. And it's just a matter of that mindset shift, because we will never have happiness everlasting or real happiness if we're constantly comparing ourselves to somebody else. Our day one is maybe somebody else's day 365, or like you, 4,768, right? So I need a constant reminder to myself, and this was a good wake-up call, is compare yourself to a past version of yourself rather than to others. So I just wanted to share that. That was it.
I love that. Thank you. That's a golden nugget. By the way, Justin's going to be my next Level Up personally sponsored diamond coach. So cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, brother.
Feeding off what Justin said of not comparing, and then what we were talking about with Emily, and I see it in the chat thread of Ashley saying, I am going to help 10 new people get started and get the $500 bonus. Recently I did a post where it was my anniversary of coaching on April 11th. And so I put some screenshots from my Facebook memories. And one of those says, I will create one of the best and unified teams in Beachbody. And I was a brand new coach without any sales, any customers, any coaches. So there's a lot of power in not just hoping for something or wishing for something, but like Emily's saying there, manifesting, saying, this is what is going to happen. Awesome. Anybody else want to share anything?
Just briefly before my baby goes berserk here. Page 189. I love this part. He talks about how behavior change is identity change. And he says, our perception of who we are, our identity or self-image, has a dramatic effect on our future actions. Self-image is a cognitive shortcut that helps our brains make otherwise difficult decisions or choices in advance, thereby streamlining the decision-making process. And before reading this, I had shared in my Fit Tribe, my challenge group, like, you are now a person who works out and eats healthy. Like, you're not hoping that will be, I'm like, this is who you are now. You made the decision to be in this group, and this is who you are, and this is who you will always be, even some days if you just feel like you're not doing it. And I just feel like that's really powerful because so many people think that they're going to reach some point where they then are that person, and you just need to make the decision right now. That's who you are, you know?
Yep. I love that. On that same, at the end of that paragraph, I forgot about that until you mentioned that. It says, but if the runner has already said, I am a runner, they do what runners do. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to feel like it. They do it. So it's also like making the identity for yourself outside of I am someone who works out and eats healthy. Like one of the things I've been telling myself lately is I'm an elite athlete. Like I'm not just doing these workouts, and that helped me get through 30 days of asylum. Like I showed up even though I didn't want to jump around at 6:30 a.m. over an agility ladder. But the same thing is, your baby's so cute. Clapping over there. One of the things that I think would be powerful for you guys as well for your business is make some I am statements for your business. I lead an incredible team of, and then whatever your niche is. Like I help, so mine would be like, I help moms and dads who are overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, fall in love with health and fitness. And I help them learn how to build a business and get out of debt, save for retirement, send their kids to missions and colleges without ever being worried financially if they can do that. Right? It's like, I am that person. Cool. Anybody else want to share anything before we wrap up? If not, I'll share some closing words. Okay. Thank you guys for hopping on here. I absolutely loved, I've absolutely loved this book so far, but what I do love is I love seeing you guys on here and learning what drives you guys and seeing what your guys' takeaways are. So you guys are always welcome to invite your teams to these calls, whether they're reading or not. Like Emily hasn't jumped on board with this, but her and I had a phone call this past week about some of her goals, and she was missing team calls and whatnot. And I was like, come to ours. Like, it's a book club. You don't have to read the book, just come be a part of the community and know that you're not alone in this. And we bounce ideas off each other and all of that. So, yeah. So if you know anybody that could benefit, make sure that they know that they're welcome to come hop on these calls. The other thing that I want to just remind you guys or share with you guys is to continually keep dreaming. I don't remember where, I think it was just like an Instagram post I saw, and it just really sunk in with me, especially kind of with some things that we're going through as we work on building our dream house and things that are going on. It was like, it was a simple statement that said, it's easier to earn $20,000 than it is to save $20,000. It's easier to earn 20,000 than it is to save 20,000. And I was thinking about that as we're building our dream house. Like just long story short, just kind of a story of what we're going through. We decided that we're going to get an interior designer, and they offer 3 services. One is drawing the house, like the whole drafting the house and all of that stuff. We already had that done. Gabby and I did that with someone else. But phase 2 is like all of the permanent fixtures of the house. That's like the paint, the faucets, the everything, cabinets, everything involved that's a permanent fixture to the house. And we knew we needed help with that because it's a big project and we wanted it to look nice. So we went and got the quote. And even then I was like, oh man, that's more expensive than I thought. It was like, it's square foot times like $3.50. And I'm like, holy crap, as she was like sharing it and whatnot. But I could see Gabby was like, yes, this will be like, I want this. But then they offered phase 3, and we're sitting in a meeting with them. Phase 3 that they offer is they do the whole interior design. Like I'm talking like paintings on the wall, rugs, furniture, like just doing the interior design of the house. And I saw the cost to do that. And I was like, holy crap. But I saw Gabby kind of lighting up a little bit like, oh, that would be cool. You know, then like we've done it before. We've flipped vacation rentals and done it, but it's a lot of work and it's a much smaller project. And then they offered as a part of that service where they purchase everything and have it set up before you move in. So when the house is done, like we could just literally take our clothes, books, laptops, and just move in instead of spending weeks like getting stuff in from IKEA or wherever and setting up beds and like, I mean, like sheets on the bed, everything. And like, I was like, how much does that cost? Like, I just wanted to know. And she's like, well, it's usually like the purchase price of the home. It's usually like 8% on the low end to 11% to furnish a home. And I did the math and I was like, it was more than we paid for the house that we live in to furnish this house with them doing it. But I just saw like Gabby, my wife, I just saw her eyes and just her face just lit up like that would be something incredible. And so I just said, yes, we'll do that. Like, we're going to do that. And I did that for her. I could see it lit her up, but it like, I was grateful that I was in the space of hearing that, because in my mind, it was instead of like, okay, how can I cut back on the actual build so that we can do that? Or where can I cut back? It was, my mindset was like, okay, we have 2 years for this to finish. How can I earn that extra amount of money that's going to be able to provide this for Gabby over the next 2 years? And it was kind of not crazy because I've done this for 12 years to see how simple it really was over trying to save money to make it happen, to be like, okay, I got 2 years, you know, each year I need to earn about this much extra. And I was like, I can do that. Like, I know how to run this business. I know how to mentor coaches. I know how to build income. I know how to maximize the compensation plan. And so what I want to invite you guys to do as you know, have things come up in your life and you're like, I would love to do that. Like whether it's traveling to the Success Club trip and you weren't able to, or getting to Summit and it's difficult. The flights are too much, or the hotel and flights are too much, or you can't have time off work, to really just sit down and write it down. Like, I would love to be able to not worry about missing work or missing pay at work to go to Summit and pay for flights. What does that eat? What do I have to do in order to make that happen in my business? And have those be some of the goals that you set, right? Those things that you really desire to do, but you're not able to in the current moment. And just every time that happens, just write it down. And instead of being like, I wish I could, or if this wasn't holding me back, I would totally do that. Instead of like taking that mindset, just being like, no, I want to go to Summit, or I want to go to the Dominican Republic trip. And like, I had this conversation with one of my coaches, like, I would love to go to she had Success Club, but she doesn't go. And she's like, well, the problem is we don't do trips without our kids. And I was like, take them, like set a goal. And it costs, you know, it's like $89 or something per night per kid extra to add them onto the room. I was like, okay, you have 3 kids that you want to bring. It's going to be $800 extra. Set a goal to earn the $800 extra. Find out how much the flights are. You know, let's say they're 700 times 3, $2,100, and set the goal to earn an extra $3,000 and bring your kids on the trip. Right. So instead of being like, I can't do this because, like, set goals and realize that you're capable of going after them. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Thanks for being on the call today. Next week, let me see what we're at, so those that are on here can see. Book club next reading is 227 through 270, chapters 14 through chapter 16. So awesome. Thank you guys for being on here live with us today. Ashley, I love seeing the kids in the background, showing that we could do this business during any part of our lives. And we'll see you guys next week. And I want to see you guys earn that $500 extra bonus. Okay, we'll see you guys later.